everyone, it's me again. Actually, it hasn't been that long. It's been like 3 days. So, today, this is my first ever prediction of the 2026 Senate election. Also, the first time I've ever made a prediction for this class of Senate seats. Yeah, because I started the channel 2022 and then 2024. So, this is the first time I'm making this class prediction. So, yeah, I sound a little off. I'm sick. Some people at my school are spreading rumors that I'm not, and y'all are here to hear about that. Y'all are here to hear about this. So if I sound like really off and like disoriented, I mean, I usually am, but that's not the point. Anyway, so right now, Republicans 53-47. Yeah, Democrats need 4 seats to win. So first, I'm gonna say what think the toss-up seats are gonna be. Like the pure actual toss-up seats, I think it's going to be Georgia, North Carolina, Maine, and then I think or Michigan. Yeah, Michigan. I think those are going to be the actual like pure toss-ups. Because if you think about it, um, 3 of them are in seats Trump won in 2022, 2024, and then Maine that is a reverse. Kamala Harris won this. This is yeah. And then there are also seats that are battlegrounds, but not quite toss-ups. This would be like your New Mexico, Texas, Ohio, Iowa, Minnesota, Florida, Virginia, um, New Jersey, New Hampshire, and I debated Colorado. I think I'm gonna put Colorado in this just because Hickenlooper, he has a history of underperforming. Like he underperformed Biden by a decent amount against Cory Gardner, who pretty much voted with Trump 97% of the time, I think. So speaking of Cory Gardner and John Hickenlooper, so this was a 2020 map. Um, really, Democrats won Georgia, Michigan, Republicans won Maine and North Carolina. Democrats gained a few seats. They gained 4 total and then net 3 because Alabama somehow went Democratic. I don't know how that even happened. Arizona, the special election is not on the ticket this time, so yeah. And yeah, not really much, honestly. Um, really the only difference is Ohio and Florida. Florida, Marco Rubio is now a cabinet position, so that race, special election, right? And then Ohio, JD Vance, Vice President-elect JD Vance is now like he's not the Senate anymore, guys. He's now the president of the Senate. So yeah, 14 total battlegrounds. So let's start with characterizing safe states for the Democrats. Um, I think no reason to think otherwise. Oregon, Illinois was close in 2024 presidentially, and overall in 2020 was only about a 16-point margin. I think this will be a better year for Democrats on net, and really, I don't know. I don't really see a reason otherwise it could be anything less unless Chicago goes through like massive issues with like crime, depopulation, all that stuff. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and then Delaware. So 39 seats for Democrats, I think, are going to be safe. For Republicans, I think. Oh, I know I said it was to be a toss-up. I think Colorado is gonna be safe. John Hickenlooper, he only won by 9.3, but this was against Cory Gardner, who also he did win. Because we take a look at 2014, he only won by about 1.9, and the state was definitely not as democratic as it is now. Even if we take a look at Michael Bennet, he won the seat by 14.6 in an R+3 year. I think if this is at least an even year, Democrats probably will win the state by a decent amount. Probably like close to 15, 16, especially if Jared Polis decides to run. I can't remember if he's term limited or not. Either way. For Republicans, Idaho, Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska. There's no weird Nebraska election. This is the special election where Republicans won by 20. So there's really not going to be an issue. Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, and West Virginia. I think that's it for Republicans. Um, yeah. For Democrats, their likely states. I think their likely states are gonna be New Mexico, Virginia, New Jersey, New Hampshire, and Minnesota. Okay, let's take a look at this real quick. I was debating for Mexico, New Hampshire. I was waiting for New Hampshire if I wanted to make it safe because Jean Shaheen, she won by a decent amount, but she also won against a guy who doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. So, and that was when Biden won the state by 7, Kamala won the state by 2. So, 8-point overperformance. If she overperforms Kamala by 8 points, she's only won the state by 10. 2026, Scott Brown, nominee for he is actually been nominated in this Senate seat before. 2014, this was a Republican wave year. Um, so he lost a seat. So I'm really debating putting it at likely or safe. I think I think that I really just think this far out. We're gonna see. It's gonna be about, call it 14.2. New Jersey. This isn't Bob Menendez. This is Cory Booker. Yeah, he's a bit more popular. Honestly, I do see him winning by similar margin he did last time. If Republicans do well in the governor's race, I could honestly move it down to lean. I don't really think so, though. I just too partisan. Even with Trump got it within 6, and then yeah, Virginia. Mark. If we take a look at 2014, it was close, but this is not 2014. This is 2026. Warner won by 12, and uh, double the margin Kamala had. And we take a look at the congressional districts. Uh, one Luria seat, one Spamberger seat, and I'll get back to Scamberger maybe in like another video. Wexton seat, which aren't that surprising. But Virginia has a 12.1 margin in 2020. Even like 2024, if you take a look, Tim Kaine, he didn't actually do too good in the state. He only won against Hung Kao by about 9. If this thing will load, I can actually pull it up. Yeah. So he won by about 8.9. So less than 9%, actually. Um, but Hung Kao was a really good candidate. He got Wexton seat pretty close in 2022. That was Nova. So he has Nova appeal. I think Nova is going to shift back to the Democrats like we've been seeing over the last few election cycles. And then New Mexico, Trump's not on the ballot, so the Hispanic vote won't be as, how do I say, won't be as favorable to Republicans as they would like, honestly. And even, okay, 2014, Mark Udall, where there was Udall's in 2 states. He won by 11, and then in 2020, I do believe he underperformed quite a bit. He only won by 6. Lujan, she only won by 6.1. So not the best look for Democrats right now. Talking too much. Minnesota, there's really not much to say about Minnesota. I think Democrats will do a little bit better in Minneapolis. They'll probably get the Arab vote back that they might have somehow lost, like a little bit lost due to Kamala. Probably do a bit better in like the Iron Range because Trump isn't on the ballot. The white working class probably shift a bit more. Overall, it's not really much of importance. It's relatively important, but not much. Anyway, for Republicans, likely states, Montana is a weird marginally state. It's marginally Republican, but Democrats have decent candidates. But even Steve Bullock, the former governor of Montana, he lost by about 10. Yeah, he lost by about 10. And this race is like really weird because 2024 John Tester, he lost by about 4 when Trump won by, actually no, he lost by 7, which pretty not a very good look for an incumbent. Even though Trump won the state by 20, and it was still a 13-point underperformance. Yeah, I don't have to talk much about that state. Alaska, same story, marginally Republican. Kansas, similar story. 2020, that was actually a decently competitive race. Democrats, they put a lot of money to seats that ended up not going their favor. I'm thinking Montana's, the Alaskas, the Kansas, the Iowas, the Texas, the South Carolinas, the Kentuckys, the North Carolinas, the Maines, and the Alabamas. Oh, and the West Virginias for some reason. So, um, Boyer was a good candidate. Marshall's not a bad candidate. He's more generic Republican, I would say. And then South Carolina, Lindsey Graham, I think he's gonna face a huge primary challenge, honestly. Um, not too popular. I'm done with this. Lindsey Graham, he hasn't even announced that he wants to. If if Nancy Mace tries to run, I do think she will get the nomination. She's definitely risen in like fame. I don't know about famous or infamous quite yet about all the issues considering Sarah McBride, the transgender bathrooms on Capitol Hill. If we see a three-way primary, I don't think Lindsey Graham comes out of this alive, honestly. Mississippi, not much to say, honestly. It's just Mississippi. The black vote. If they can nominate a decent, like, African American candidate, it might turn out the black vote. Because black votes, I'm pretty sure they are lower propensity voters anyway. Like Epsby, he ran in the 2018 special, got the race pretty close. And she is running again for the election. And all right, the Republicans just need. I think they're gonna win Ohio, Iowa, Texas, and Florida by like over 5 points. Ohio, we don't even know the incumbent in Ohio. That's the thing. If it's someone like Josh Mandel, I genuinely could see a flip because both Sherrod Brown and Tim Ryan, both really strong candidates in their own right. They've said that they're considering running, and then Greg Landsman from one of the districts in Ohio. It's the one near Cincinnati, I think, that's trending like very Democrat overall. He's probably gonna run. I'm not pulling it up. Where else? Where else? Okay, I'm really sorry, guys. Like I said, I was sick. Um, my volume isn't working. Um, Texas, similar story. I don't think Republicans are gonna do as good as Trump, but not Abbott. What's his name? John Cornyn. So he's seen more as a rhino in Texas, but at the same time, Texas is slightly more establishment than 2024 might have led you to believe. They prefer their establishment candidates slash they don't like Trump back candidates as much like Ted Cruz. He only won by 9, which nine's a lot. But if Trump wasn't on the ballot, he would have won by like 4. It was actually 8.5, so not even that. 2022, I do believe there was not a it was 9.6. So I can see this about 9.6. Florida's basically gone for the Democratic Party. Even if they nominate Matt Gaetz or someone like that, it's probably still going to be an 8 point margin. In 2020, okay, let's just in 2024, um, Miami, Hillsborough, suburbs of Orlando, um, Tampa, and then almost Palm Beach County. They all voted for Donald Trump. And Donald Trump's obviously not going to be on the ticket, but if Laura Trump or Ron DeSantis, I don't care who it is. Republicans could nominate a rock in Florida and they would still win the race by over 5. Let's talk about Iowa now. Okay, Iowa, they're probably going to primary out Joni Ernst if I'm being honest. I said this in previous videos, if I was the chair of the Iowa GOP, I would probably not want Chuck Grassley to run in 2028 because he'd be way too old. I would get Marionette Miller Meeks out of there. She cannot keep winning by 600 votes and or 6 votes for that matter and do good. And I probably honestly Joni Ernst because she took her a while to promote Trump's picks. Now, this is what I would just say: if I was a Republican Iowa chair, not that I am. overall, there's not much, but there was one poll we did have. Show. So most people actually don't want Joni Ernst. So yeah, and this was like December, so around the time. Yeah. Now, four toss-up races left for lean Democratic states. I think they're gonna win. Um, Michigan. I think they're gonna win Maine. I think they're gonna win Georgia. Actually, no, I don't think they're gonna win Georgia. I think they're just gonna win these two states by lean margins. Michigan, Gary Peters, he's honestly really unpopular. Probably won't win again. If it was a red wave year, he would not be winning. He didn't even get 50% of the vote. And this was the closest race in all of 2020 if you don't count the Georgia races. It was the closest. Tied with North Carolina, actually. But you get my point. I'm gonna say Maine. So Susan Collins barely won. You might look at this 8-point margin and be like, okay, she did not do that bad. If we go back to 2014, that was the last time. She won by 37. And if we go back to 2010, not 2010, 2006 actually, she won by, wait, no, hang on, it was 2008. She won by 22 points. She has not, in 16, again, like we've been saying, she won by 8. Did she win? Yes. Did she barely win? Let's pull up this. So, in May, they do something called ranked choice voting. Ranked choice voting is a system where you rank your candidates. Whoever gets the 50% first wins. No one does. Take the lost candidate, distribute its voters. It's not that complicated if you understand it. So, take a look at this. She was barely up about 0.98% away from 50%. And Lisa Savage, first of all, she ran as an independent candidate, but she also ran as a Democrat to start off with. The way it works, no spoiler effect. Except there was kind of a spoiler effect, and I'll explain why. Look at the general election. No, I just want the results. Thank you. So she lost 17%. If you take a look at Lisa Savage and Max Lynn, they're both Democrat. They're basically Democrats at that point. If we added their margin, the margin would go down to about 3%. Because a lot of these voters, I'm guessing what happened was they did not think Susan Collins would get to 50% because they saw the polls, they saw she'd lose, and they'd be like, "Oh, so we can just vote for Sarah Gideon, and Susan Collins won't get a 50%, so we vote for Lisa Savage or Max Lynn. Votes will transfer over. She won, but she did get it over 50%, barely. But I think people are gonna learn their lesson this time. People are gonna be more likely to support um Sarah Gideon or whoever the Democratic nominee is. I've heard rumors of Jared Golden and Shelley Pingree and Janet Mills. If Jared Golden Mills run in this seat, Susan Collins is losing pretty much. So that's that. All really, really good candidates in their own right. So that's my reasoning for why I think Maine's going to be a bit more competitive than people think it is. Also, because we've seen partisanship happen. We saw Montana go red. We saw Ohio go red. We saw Pennsylvania go red. We saw Wisconsin and Michigan be within one. We're not making exceptions for Maine. And then for tilt Democratic states, I think that these two, if Brian Kemp runs in Georgia, he could win if it was a red wave year. I say Republicans save Brian Kemp for 2028 against Raphael Warnock. Because Raphael Warnock has won by the skin of his teeth both times. And if it's a favorable year for Republicans, Brian Kemp will probably win. He has the establishment back base, which is also pretty strong in Georgia, but also he's amended ties with Donald Trump. So even the Trump backed majority in Georgia, like they'll back him. He won 75% of the primary vote. But overall, John Ossoff, and it's a Democratic year, and Atlanta has trended off a cliff. For like the two people that saw my short yesterday, because for some reason all my shorts are flopping now, in the nicest way possible. Henry County shifted. Gwinnett County shift. Fulton County, that is trending left off a cliff. And we see a similar story in North Carolina, the Asheville area that's going left off a cliff. The Panhandle left off the cliff. The Research Triangle going left off a cliff. The only good signs for Republican is the black area in north eastern. But if Democrats can get a decent candidate, um, even if they run Sherry Beasley again, probably not. But if they run a Roy Cooper, if they run Roy Cooper, probably gonna win. And Tom Tillis, he won in 2020 because Cal Cunningham had a huge scandal in October. So no other reason why, just that. Oh, maybe because Trump won the state, but Trump's not on the ballot, is he? And even in 2014 was a Republican wave year. He won by like 1%. So what does that say? He's gonna lose. He's going down. So anyway, Republicans, they lose 2 seats. They'll have the same majority as they did in 2016, 2028. Decent flips for them. Decent flips for them. Pretty much solidified Texas and Florida anyway. So once you don't have to worry about much. But if I was a Republican, I would probably. There isn't really much they can do. Just if I was Donald Trump, I would do pass voter ID laws like instantly. Bye. I'm done speaking.